having a guest amidst us, a multi-dimensional speaker. Pastor Felix Duyilemi is amidst us this wonderful moment. You're welcome, sir. So he will be demystifying the science of thought. Sir, tell us the science of thought.
Wow, I'm happy to join you again at the classic show. It's always wonderful joining you. It's always a great time. And of course, the topic we are looking at, the science of thought, is quite very powerful and very important. It's been said that an average person thinks about 64,000 thoughts per day. Now, if thought creates our reality, imagine 64,000 thoughts creating your reality per day. Now, the question is, what kind of reality are you creating? Now, so it's important when people hear that our thought creates our reality. Most time people can tend to dismiss it as something philosophical or motivational, but there's science behind it. And so once you understand the science behind your thought, you will pay more attention to your thought. So let's look at the simple science. So to me, it's simple science, but to some other persons, it might look like a bit complex science. But this is the science behind your thought. And so when you think a thought, your thought creates something that is known as electromagnetic events in your brain. So your thought is not just an incident. Your brain registers your thought as an event. What happens is this: your thought generates electrical impulses, and these electrical impulses are translated into vibrations. And so each thought you think emits certain vibration, and this vibration creates your personal electromagnetic field, which expand into greater quantum field of possibilities. So when you think a thought, what happens is that when you meet somebody, anybody you meet, that person carries his own electromagnetic field. And this electromagnetic field is what attracts you that think that thought to the quantum world that surrounds you. When I mention quantum world, I'm talking about the invisible world around you. And so each thought you think has an impact on the quantum field. So whenever a person thinks a thought, he emits certain vibration. That vibration becomes his personal electromagnetic field. For instance, if somebody thinks I'm blessed, for instance, what that thought does is to emit a certain vibration. Of course, you know that that vibration will be positive vibration. So I am blessed becomes a personal electromagnetic field that draws any vibration that is related to blessing to his life. And another thing that happens in your brain is that when you think certain thoughts often, it becomes a pattern in your brain. So it is easy for you to think similar thoughts as a result of repeating certain thoughts. This concept is what is known as neuroplasticity. I don't know if you heard of neuroplasticity. What is neuroplasticity? Plasticity simply means the abilities of our brain to rewire itself. Most times, in the past, we thought that our brain is fixed, that our brain is rigid. But the truth is that the concept of neuroplasticity tells us that the brain is constantly adapting, and changing based on the thoughts that you dwell on. And that gives us power. That gives us power. So you cannot say, this is me. This is how I've always been, and this is how I will continue to be. You are what you are as a result of the pattern in your brain, as a result of the pattern. And what is the pattern? What creates that pattern is as a result of repetitiveness of the thoughts you entertain. So, the power of thought, as we are learning it, is that by choosing a particular thought that serves you, because most time people just think on default, they just allow all kinds of thoughts in their minds. But now you are now deliberate because you know the power of your thought. So when you choose a thought and you start thinking about it, for instance, as believers, we have the word of God is rich in positive thoughts. In the Bible, you study, I am more than a conqueror. That becomes a food for your thoughts. So by thinking, I'm more than a conqueror, I'm more than a conqueror, I'm more than a conqueror, what happens is that you are creating a bioenergetic blueprint in your brain. Once you say, I'm more than a conqueror, your brain says, okay, we are getting a signal. When you repeat it again, I'm more than a conqueror, your brain says, okay, is that this sickness is coming off. When you say, oh, I'm more than, and you said that for 10 times in the morning, you say that for 10 times in the afternoon, or say that for 10 times in the evening, by repeating it again and again, I am more than a conqueror becomes a pattern in your brain. That is the science behind it. So it is not easy for you to think I'm more than a conqueror on autopilot. And as a result of that, your personal electromagnetic field recognize I am more than a conqueror. So what happened is he sent that signals to the quantum field around you. And so anything that is related to I am more than a conqueror is what you draw into your life. Another powerful science we need to talk about is that by repeating thoughts over and over and over again, your thought becomes your belief. And beliefs are very powerful. Do you know why beliefs are powerful? Beliefs are powerful because belief becomes your filter through which you interpret and perceive reality. In other words, you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. Once you establish a belief, that belief filters your realities. It filters your interpretations of events in your life. It filters what comes to your life, what you accept as possibilities or not. So an average person thinks that he's a product of his environment, not knowing that he